Hi, Kevin here from C3. Today we're going to do the install of our C3 intake on our SXF here. The stock intake is restrictive, doesn't let air flow through very well when it gets iced up and full of snow. So we replace it with our C3 intake here, which allows it to breathe in all snow conditions. In the install video here, we're going to go through the reasons kind of why and the differences it can do. The main thing here to think about on your new 19 and newer SFX is that you can hook it up with the breather going into the intake or without, and that's kind of your choice. It's a personal preference. We'll talk about in a tech video why you might go either way. Anyways, let's get started with the install. So in all the stock KTMs, you're going to want to remove the filter air box, the rubber boot, and then I recommend 100% cutting out all the unneeded parts of your air box. We'll show you with some felt lines here. On the Husky and Betas and a few other models, you can actually disassemble the subframe and pull the whole air box out without cutting it. But on the KTMs, it's highly recommended that you cut the air box. To take the air boot out, you just loosen off the clamps onto the throttle body and then work it out. After the air box is removed, just remember, stick something in your throttle body just so while we're cutting and doing any other work, we don't get any debris in the throttle body. And so the next step is to kind of mark out and cut the air box. So you can see our felt marks where we're going to cut it. It'll be more apparent after we cut it, but again, on these KTMs, I think it's very important to cut this amount of the air box off, and it just lets the air flow in better and the snow evacuate better from the area and leaves your intake freer to breathe. We provide the screws to mount your new or your air temp sensor back on your new intake. So the stock ones are meant for rubber, won't work here. So we provide you some. The rubber gets aligned with the air temp sensor on the bottom and the offset to the outside of the bike. So our intake boot goes in with the air temp sensor facing down. On the models that you hook up the PCV vent, you would have the PCV vent facing towards the right of the bike. You can see here, we still have the stock swing arm and dirt setup on this thing, and it fits with that in there. So it fits with a TSS shock and other things as well. You can see that we cut out this outside piece. Some people try to leave it in, but with it cut out, the air intake fits great and you just get better snow clearing and better breathing. So it's important just to cut it all out, and if you ever go back to dirt, you just buy the new inner fender. So one important point is an air box that's full of snow, or if you have a stock filter in there that's plugged, your horsepower is going to be way down on that. When you have our intake on and you might lose half a horsepower without an ECU, it's still going to be 3 or 4 more horsepower than you have with a plugged air box. So really important to basically cut your air box, give lots of air to flow, both air in and get snow out. And that'll help you so much with kind of the setup of this and the performance of your bike in deep powder days.